What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back again with another 90 Day Fiancé video, and this one is all about Bilal and Shahida and the origin behind his prank. But before we continue, let's start off by giving a big massive shout out to every single person that is a member of the channel. Now here's the thing though, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday I made a video about Bilal's behavior towards Shahida. And then someone came in the comment section and said, hey, just so you know, apparently according to Bilal in an interview, the prank was because Shahida had already started it way before, apparently. So I decided to do some diving, some research, and therefore I came across this interview where they explain all about how the prank became a thing and how Shahida started it, shall I say. But trust me when I tell you, I'm going to show you this in a second, and we're definitely going to rip into this video because, to be honest with you,
for what I have. You know, she told me she's a ride or die. So let's put that to the test.
Bilal, some people felt as if it wasn't right for you to test Shy by picking her up in a van that wasn't yours, taking her to your childhood home, acting as if you lived there. Some even felt as if you were gaslighting her. So looking back now, do you regret the prank?
You know, I definitely would say I would probably do some things differently for sure. I don't know how long we have, but just to put things in context.
We're good, talk.
Okay. She said talk. So to put things in context is that, yeah, it was an element of a test, but it was really more of a prank. And it was a continuing prank that she actually started. So
Wait, tell us
when I
about
went to Trinidad,
Okay.
I let her know, I said, hey, here's some Airbnbs that I can stay at. You know, you choose which one should I stay at because I'm not familiar with the area. She said, okay, yeah, sure. So she picked the one for me to stay at, and lo and behold, the Airbnb was in the middle of the worst crime area ever, right? So I'm staying at this Airbnb, and I don't know. I know it's kind of suspect when I'm walking around. And she's calling me at night, like, where are you at? I'm like, oh, she's like, no, you need to go back to your, like. So I don't even know like the area is that bad.
Yeah.
Even I can see that it looks bad. And then her mother, she picked us up. She's like, Shada, why do you have him staying in such and such area? What was the area called?
It was Carenage.
Carenage. So.
Well,
and it was a bad area. So like literally it was like I was in an institution. There was like barbed wire fencing around the premise. It was a bad area. So she thought it was very funny.
Shada, you have this man looking the way he does in that area. That's dangerous.
He says he's hood bougie, so I put him in the hood.
I am what you would call hood bougie.
to think that there's more to come from this interview that we're going to discover. But let's break down what we've seen so far. So here's the thing. You're telling me a man that is, okay, it doesn't even matter that he does real estate, but you're telling me a man that is wealthy is going to fly from one country to another without arranging his own accommodation. Is this what you're telling me? You're telling me that he's just gonna book an Airbnb out of nowhere. A man that lives that bougie, forget the hood nonsense, the bougie lifestyle. And I tell you this now, most people that I do know that are either bougie or just have a certain standard, before they travel anywhere and they're looking for the Airbnb or that hotel, whatever it is they're going to be staying in, they always check how many stars is it going to be? Is the area going to be a nice area? Because that's what people do when they live a certain standard in life. There's some of us in life, we're just like, listen, man, I'll just pay for whatever I can get. You know what I mean? I ain't really complaining. I came from the hood, so it is what it is. You know what I mean? But then there's some people, they're like, listen, if it ain't 4-star, ain't 5-star, I don't want to know. If it ain't in a nice little area with nice people, I don't want to know. Bilal is definitely one of those people. So for me personally, that is reason number one why this story is absolute a lie. Reason number two, ladies and gentlemen. You see, when Shada came out with, well, he said he was hood bougie, unless he has said this to her prior the show existing, as far as I'm concerned, it seems to me as if she's only using the word hood bougie because he has used it currently within the season. And there is a part of this interview where she does say that she has been watching the show. So therefore she's aware that he's already said that. And also the fact that E Entertainment also then showed the clip of him saying he's hood bougie, which would have been something that would have happened way after this so-called prank that she did on him. Like, come on. Yeah. Anyway, let's continue for now.
It was fancy wrong with plenty barbed wire.
It was barbed wire fence.
Right, so because that's the first thing he's like, you know, I'm hood bougie. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna put him in somewhere affordable, hood. It still was bougie because it was like barbed wire all around. So he was protected in his hood bougie Airbnb.
So
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so we both like to joke, humor. So in the back, I'm like, okay, good one. You know, I was there for 7 days. not 1, but 7. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pay you back. I'm gonna get you back. So she forgot. I was like, you're not gonna know where it's gonna come from. And then with the house, I was like, I just really wanted to surprise her because she was seeing me a lot of, pictures of like, oh, this is my home that I would like to live in when we, do well in life, etc. And I'm thinking to myself, like, that house looks kind of like the house I live in already. So, so I'm like, maybe I just want to surprise her when she comes. Yeah. And then the idea came like, oh, I remember she pranked me. I'm gonna get her back. And one day we were actually watching, because we were watching movies together from a long distance, like Netflix, like press play.
Now, bear in mind, right now, he's adamant that the reason why he pranked her was because he wanted to get her back. Okay? That's what he's saying right now. We know that in the episode, he said it's because he wants to test her, right? Obviously, right now, he's playing more on the prank rather than on the test element. Remember that because, sometimes some people, when they lie, they just aren't good at it. It's either that or I'm just great at just picking it up when someone's lying to me because I'm just good at knowing somebody's just BSing me, if you dig what I'm saying. Okay, whatever, let's continue.
And so we're watching one of our favorite movies, Coming to America, and I was like, I know what I'm gonna do. So wow. that was it.
Y'all, context is everything because that just changes the entire conversation, in my opinion.
No, it does not change the whole conversation. What it means, you need to keep deep diving and ask the next question. You should then ask him. At this moment in time, the question should be, this is why TLC should ring me and appoint me to be the host for the Tell All. But at this point here, yes, you're supposed to say to them, okay. So you're telling me right now that it was a prank and it was not a test, more or less. Okay, interesting. So tell me, why would you travel for a man that is so wealthy, looks after himself so well? Why would you travel without researching the area that you're going to be living in? In fact, why would you travel without even booking yourself accommodation? Because clearly that would have been a conversation you would have had. Because as I tell you this now, if they had a conversation of where apparently he was meant to stay with her, but then when he got there and she was, oh no, you're not going to stay with me anymore. Trust me, there ain't no prank that's going to go down with me. I'll be like, excuse me, let me get that plane back out home. Or either that, I'll find myself a nice little chicken place. And you and I, we ain't seen each other the rest of this trip because how dare you do that to me? You know what I mean? You can't expect me to fly from one country to another and you don't have my accommodation ready if you told me you was going to have it ready. But it seems as if she never said that she was going to have his accommodation ready, which therefore means that he traveled there without having no accommodation ready. Nobody does that. Okay? So, unless they're just fleeing the country and they just run away from someone and they haven't got a plan of what they want to do, they just want to get away, then people do that. But for someone in his line of work and someone in his position in general, trust me, you would plan it. So, yeah. Personally, if I was me, Miss Host over here, who should be replaced by me, I would be asking the question, why travel before that? But anyway, let's continue.
Ever had instances where women did just want you for money? Have you ever ran into that?
No, I really haven't. I mean, I've, you hear things about people like, oh, they're, just in it for the money or this and that. Like, I've never been, this funny thing is I've never really been flashy. You may see me on social media with a suit on. That's because that's just what I do for a living.
And your Louboutins.
Yeah, so, but like, if you don't, like, you never see me taking a picture next to my cars or taking a picture, with my personal homes or anything like that. Like, only homes that you see are things that I'm like selling for clients. So I never been like flashy that way or anything like that. And if you know it, or if you're into brands, so you may know something subtle, like, oh, he wears this belt or his et cetera. Yeah. But I never really had the experience of somebody just wanting you for like something that you have.
Yeah.
I'm putting Shy to the test a little bit. Wow, home sweet home, right? When Shy comes in today, I'm gonna bring her to my childhood home, the home that I actually grew up in, just to see that if I did live here, will you still be with me?
So here's the thing. If it's a prank, or if it's more of a prank than it is a test, that's what he says, why would you give the audience the narrative that this is 100% more a test than it is a prank? Because as far as I'm concerned, that line itself alone about I'm testing her in this kind of way tells me that this is a test and it's not a prank. And even if it is a prank, it's minimal a prank, to be honest with you. But remember, he's adamant that it was a prank right here on the interview, but on the show, he was adamant that it was actually a test. Like, make your mind up. Listen, call him BS. This whole thing is made up. There is no way in hell that he traveled to Trinidad and Tobago unprepared. But anyway, let's continue because trust me when I tell you,
this was a prank, but in the show, you did say you wanted to test Shida to see if she really wanted you for who you are, what you have. So that being said, what do you say to people who feel as if you do these type of tests before you decide to make someone your wife?
Yeah, you know, like I can admit like there was really 3 elements. By far, the most of it was a prank, but there was some elements of a test. And I think with any joke, there is like some truth in it. So it was to see like, you know, because she would say things, make comments like, hey, like, I'm in it to win it. And I would ask her things like, let's say for some reason, let's say if I had money and for some reason I lost it all, like, would you ride with me? Would you help me build it back up? She's like, for sure, no doubt. So everybody says that. But then when you put into that moment,
True.
you know, so it's like, well, so yeah, there were some elements of a test.
So basically, in a nutshell, you don't trust her then. Because I can tell you this now firsthand. First and foremost, if I had to ask someone, are you still going to be here if things go downhill? To be fair, that is somewhat of a semi-red flag. I say semi-red flag because you see, sometimes you ask it because you worry yourself that you don't want to let that person down. So you just say to them, listen, you know, I understand if you want to bounce now because I don't want to bring you down with me, which is a kind of a different kind of thing. But generally, if you're asking someone, hey, would you still be here though if I, you know, if things all went tits up? See, that's called paranoia. That's called, sorry. That's called lack of trust in that person. So to be honest with you, everything he's saying here, or he just said that right there, tells me that clearly he has a very low, he just doesn't trust her, basically. Yeah. Why else? Do you know what I mean? It just, come on. It's just getting worse. But the fact that she's sitting there, just smiling and nodding her head, is just peeing me off. Because to be honest with you, for a woman that came on the show and kind of gave us, do you know what it was? Before she flew to the States, she gave us a persona that she was going to be a strong woman. She was going to have that little bit, she's going to have somewhat of an alpha behind her. But since she's arrived in America, that alpha has disappeared. The only time that alpha comes out is when she rings her mum or anyone from home and she's basically complaining. But when it comes to him, she's just like, yes, master, yes, master. I mean, listen, yesterday's video, obviously we saw that in the car that she was trying to stand up for herself a little bit, but then the way she did it wasn't exactly the best of ways because she was touching man while he was driving, which was just unnecessary. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the video I made yesterday and you know exactly what I'm referencing. But either way though, right now it seems to me as if Shida is probably more submissive than we probably imagined in the first place. But hey, let's continue for now.
There was a lot of settlement elements to it as well too. The truck, it wasn't just any truck. It was actually my father's truck, and it was one of his trucks. And he recently passed, and he didn't get a chance to meet Shida physically. They spoke on the phone and video, etc. And the home was a house that not just my childhood, but I grew up there like 20 plus years of my life. And my father actually helped build that house. So it was really sentimental to say, hey, like it was a way of like really introducing her to my father before I introduced her to the rest of my family, because I really feel him there. And but also to show her too, like these are my roots, and to really know me, no, this is where I came from.
Yeah. Knowing that about the van, and Shida, do you regret the whole Sanford and Son
I
comment?
I totally regret the Sanford and Son comment.
This place looking like Sanford and Son.
When he's playing a test on me, I am totally unaware. So I'm thinking it's just his truck, his personal belongings. So I'm not thinking it has any sentimental value.
Right.
So my exclamation was just natural. You know, Sanford and Son, you pick him up in his old truck, boy, you could do better than that type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was killing me with the comments, and then with the house, it was so for me. It started as a prank, and then it started to become like, oh man, like you taking shots at my.
No, she look, Shida, you get.
Miss me with the BS. Listen, if you've taken her to your home, to your childhood home, and she doesn't know it's your childhood home, she thinks it's going to be your home. Whatever comments come out is based on the narrative that you've given her. So therefore, can you be upset with anything that she has to say? No. Why? Because she's under there, because she's arrived there with a perspective that you've given her. If she arrived there with the perspective that, hey, we're going to go see my house that I grew up in as a kid, her reaction, her behavior would have been different. So you can't even judge her behavior, because her behavior isn't based on reality. It's based on your stupid prank, first and foremost. Okay. Secondly, let's move on to the next one now. Okay. Talking about, obviously her comments, Sanford and Son. I don't know why she's apologizing again. I don't know why she keeps apologizing to this fool. Because at the end of the day, she made the comment based on not knowing that this van was his father's. She made it because, end of the day, he gave her a persona that, he was a man that looked after himself well, and definitely a man that would not be picking up his woman in a van that is untidy. But the fact is, though, he did that. So therefore, her perception is based on what he had created in the first place. If he had said, hey, I'm sorry, I've had to pick you up in my dad's van because my car's not working right now, whatever, okay? Different conversation. Do you know what I mean? At least she's prepared for it and she's going to understand. So therefore her responses are going to be different. You cannot penalize someone or be upset with someone because they respond a certain way to your stupid prank. End of the day, if you want someone to give you their reaction as they would normally, make sure the scenario is exactly how it needs to be. If the scenario is what it's not supposed to be, their reaction is going to be based on that. And if you don't like it, to be honest with you, fair enough, you can be upset with that person to a certain degree, but understand this though, is you take accountability that it was still your fault because you did it in the first place. Because at the end of the day, let's be real. If I was to take someone to my childhood home, for example, right, yeah, without no explanation, I said, hey, we're just gonna go to this place real quick, blah, 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 blah. What they're going to say is based on what I've told them. But if I say to them, hey, we're going to go to my childhood home because I really want to show you, obviously where I came from, my roots, so you can get to kind of know who I am in terms of my foundation. When they get there, they're going to have it in their head, okay, I'm going to the deceased foundation. I'm going to learn about him. You know what I'm saying? Not that I'm going to live there. And the fact that he said that I took her there so she could learn about me, she doesn't know that she's going to this house to learn about you in that way. She doesn't know that she's going to this house to learn about your freaking foundation. She's going there thinking that she's going to be living there. Meanwhile, she's had this whole thing in her head that she's going to be living in a house that was maintained. The fact that you took her to a house that was not maintained, forget the size of the house, that's irrelevant. You took her to a house with the walls, the ceiling was looking freaking dodgy as hell. The TV still had a freaking big back. The only thing that should have a big back nowadays is a lady's back. You know what I'm saying? you know, man, them like that booty. So, like I was saying, end of the day, the only thing that a TV that's outdated or that kind of, you know what I'm saying, right? So at the end of the day, her reaction was based on the perception that you gave her. But if he had told her, we're going to go see my house so you can learn a little bit where I came from and where I started and how I got to where I am, she's going to go there with a different mindset. And therefore you get to get her reaction for what it's supposed to be, not what it's not supposed to be, you freaking donut. But the fact is this though, like I was trying to say in my video, like I said in my previous video, if you haven't seen it already, ladies and gentlemen, go check it out. Give a man a view, man. I'm saying, get that revenue up. The fact is this though, at the end of the day, this is more proof that this guy is nothing but just someone that is judging her at every single step of the way. And it seems to me, based on this video, he's even now controlling her every freaking narrative. Because if you ask me, I don't think that this is really who she is right now. I think that, to be honest with you, do you know what? I'm going to go out on a whim. I'm going to go out on a massive win. Maybe even if you can call it a big reach. But now I'm starting to sit and say to myself, has she toned down herself because generally she enjoys the lifestyle that he's given her? I'm starting to think that now. Because remember, the core of the prank, which wasn't a prank, was to find out whether she was, you know, a gold digger per se, right? And if you're asking me, based on how she was behaving before she arrived and the way she was talking, oh, you know, tough enough and all that kind of stuff, I'm just saying, sometimes when someone's persona changes, it changes for certain reasons. And the only reason that I can give to you right now is that maybe she's enjoying that lifestyle a bit too much, so now she's decided to make herself more submissive rather than the alpha woman that she gave us beforehand, which is the one that I liked. You know what I mean? She gave me that badass kind of attitude, you know what I mean? I was like, okay. But don't get twisted though. I do like women to be not too alpha though, you know what I'm saying? You know, calm yourself down now, ladies, okay? Control yourself now, okay? Yeah, come at me for that one. Joking. Anyway, so let's proceed anyway, because there's a little bit more to go as well that I definitely want to break down and rip apart, because this whole interview is BS. And to be honest with you, when we know the host, the same host that we have for Tell O is hosting this, is being the interviewee or interviewer, we can't expect anything less. But yeah. Anyway, let's go. Yeah. On that note, TLC, you need to hire me, and ET Entertainment. Entertainment Tonight, you need to hire me as well, because this lady right here, she ain't doing jack. But let's proceed.
Coming back to back, I'm like, she was quick with her tongue.
Yes, so quick. She'd be killing me.
I was so upset. I was so angry.
Yeah, that's feeling.
Yeah, I gotta get that done.
It looked like it could collapse on us any moment.
I was trying to hold back a lot of anger at him, you know, because he met me. I'm a woman with standards.
Yeah.
Just because you have standards doesn't mean you have to be rich or luxurious. You could be clean, you know, coming in, coming out of the truck, seeing the first thing my eye went up there to see that
Ceiling?
window
Oh,
with a big hole in it. That's the first thing I saw when I came out.
Oh, in the house. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the house.
I saw the
Yeah.
window with a hole, and after I saw the little edges peeling apart, the paint, you know, the veranda, the porches falling down. I was like,
It's not fun.
just because it's a humble home doesn't mean it has to be
Look a
dirty.
mess. That's true.
That was my heartbreak.
Believe it or not, actually, like I spent like the whole weekend like cleaning up that house. Like it was really because it's this area where my father would store a lot of his stuff there. So no one lived in it for 15 plus years. So cleaned it up a lot, you know. So what you see actually on TV was like hours and hours of like brother, sister helping.
Well, you flip houses though too, right? Have you ever thought about flipping that house?
For sure, definitely did. My father, like I said, he recently passed. However, my father.
And there we have it. So you're telling me that the whole family went there to clean the house with you? My brain hurts right now. My brain is killing me right now. The level of stupidity is just irritating me. But listen, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, this is basically the summary of this is how I'm going to summarize the whole freaking video. Absolute BS, or as they say nowadays in the urban world, absolute cap, if you dig what I'm saying. Because as far as I am concerned, this whole thing right here is just as scripted as just the whole entire show itself in particular. Because like I said before, let me go through my points that I made throughout this video, okay, so I can remind you real quick. But you can rewind and watch it again if you like. Bear this in mind. So, do I remember all my points? I'll do my best. So obviously point number one from my vague memory was that no one travels to another country without having accommodation already planned, especially someone that is wealthy, someone that looks after himself very, very well. Okay, he's not going to fly somewhere without knowing exactly where he's going to be staying. So to be honest with you, that is flaw. That's flaw number one in the lie. The second flaw is that if they did have a conversation about accommodation and she was meant to set up for him, but then she didn't, well then, why the hell did he stay there with her then? Because clearly that's a massive red flag. So that's flaw number two, if you dig what I'm saying. Then we got flaw number three. Whilst I think about it, my brain is going a little bit blank right now. Okay. Oh, that's it, yes. Flaw number three is at the end of the day, you cannot in any kind of way penalize someone for their reaction based on a lie, based on a prank. Okay, that is called pure narcissism if you ask me. That is called that you feel like everything has to go your way, and if it doesn't, then you're going to cry like a little baby. Grow up. Grow up. And there were some more points that I made that I ain't going to lie to you, but I kind of forgot them, you know what I mean? We've been here for quite a while. We've been here for over 20 minutes now. But if you forgot my points, go back and watch the video. And then you can comment as you're watching the video. Should have said that at the very beginning, shouldn't I? But at the same time though, I thought this video was going to be like 5 minutes long. Nonetheless though, thank you so much for your time, ladies and gentlemen. And I look forward to interacting with you guys in the comment section as per usual. You dig? Thank you so much. Like, subscribe, and peace.